The Sentinel is known to be reliable, fearless, disciplined, consistent, courageous, motivated, and skillful.
So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances.
All these qualities start from the mind. Your mind can be your worst enemy or your most powerful weapon.
The world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
Is this the dagger?
Learn how to achieve greatness and tap into the Sentinel mindset.
This episode is brought to you by The Arena. The Arena focuses on helping law enforcement and security professionals achieve their ultimate work experience, curriculum, and fitness goals. Visit thearenatoronto.com.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this wonderful, wonderful special segment.
Hello, hello.
I'm Constantine. We have Suzanna here in the house.
Hi.
And we're going to talk today about a topic that I talk about frequently to many colleges, universities, and to just everyday people.
Yes.
And that is, what is your plan B? Now, imagine, let's take you into an imaginary world right now, that you spend all your time, all your focus on something that goes nowhere. Okay?
You should have put a disclaimer.
Yes. Do you stop and say, okay, I guess it's done, and just at that point have no direction and give up? Do you have a plan B? Okay? And this is what I want to talk about today, Suzanne, is what's your plan B? Now, not what's your plan B.
I have a plan B,
and
C, D.
No, and I'm glad you're saying that, because I encourage anybody listening today that in anything that you do, when you're planning and when you're assembling your life, however you want to do it, have layers to it. So if something doesn't work out, you just continue moving forward. Okay? Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but I went to Seneca College, King Campus, which is arguably the best law enforcement program in our country.
Wow.
Yes. I went to that school back in 1996. And I graduated in 98 with high honors, by the way. And when I went to that school, I went there for one purpose. I wanted to be a police officer. Did you know I wanted to be a cop?
Actually, no.
You never knew that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Every fiber in my body wanted to be a police officer. And everything that I did, volunteer work, working closely with police organizations through the schools, working with youth groups, everything that I did was trying to get me closer to becoming a police officer. So when I went to college, I thought all I had to do was just complete this 2-year program, kick ass, get great marks, great relationships, and I'd be a police officer. Well,
Dun, dun, dun.
Here we are today. Am I a police officer? No, I'm not. I'm not a police officer today. In fact, the journey has taken me a very different road. But I remember there's one thing that I heard in the assembly hall, probably I'm going to say 3 or 4 weeks before we're about to graduate, because we were in exam mode. So sometime in April of 1998. And I remember one of the professors telling everybody, congratulations, you've come too close to the end of the 2 years. Many of you have achieved super elite status of marks. And I'm looking, I got high honors. But he goes, only 6% of you, only 6% of you will get a career in policing. And I remember thinking to myself, well, first of all, it's nice that we're hearing this at the end of the journey. At the end of the journey, it would have been nice to hear this before. But I'm thinking, I'm one of those 6%. Like, I'm literally one of those 6%. There's no way that I'm not. So when we finished, by the way, I would always hang out with 4 people, and we were a team of 5. And I remember we all started applying to police forces. First guy, his name is Andy. The age of 19, he gets on with the OPP. And I'm thinking, okay, he's part of the 6%. Then another buddy of mine, Nick, he gets on with Toronto. And then another buddy of mine gets on with York. And then now it's me now. So I'm applying. So I'm applying to Peel as my first service. And I'm 19 years old at that age as well. And I'm applying to Toronto. And, I don't get on. And what I was told at that time frame is that you don't have enough life experience, right? So I'm thinking, okay, well, how do these other guys get life experience? Sure, I'll take that. So I applied, and in that same time that I was applying, I got an opportunity to work with the City of Toronto in social services. And I jumped in there, and I did a 17-year career there. And I was applying to police services, but I slowly stopped, okay? Now, my plan B was not calculated. I did not have a plan B. I got lucky. And I want to say that, like, life will take you sometimes into some environments where you get
It'll
lucky.
redirect you.
100%. But if I did not have that, what would I have done? I mean, Suzanna, everything that I wanted to do and apply to was I wanted to be a police officer. When we interview police officers now, and I see them, I have this like fire inside me, like,
To guide
oh
them.
man, no, I
No?
want to be like you. I still to this day that
Really?
yes. So what is that? What is that feeling that I feel? And the only thing that I can come up with it is that why did I want to be a police officer so badly? And that is because I've recognized over my 45-year lifespan, or 46 coming up, yes. I've recognized that I have this thing inside me that is what I can only identify as a protector. And it's why when I see fights, why when I see conflict, I'm running into there.
And you want to step in.
When I went on a cruise a couple of years ago, there was a fight that happened.
I love it. This is becoming a
Yes,
therapy
yeah,
session.
yeah. There was a fight that happened, and my wife knows me that
Mm-hmm.
I am just like, she'll look. It's kind of almost like you
An
just look to your
instinct,
right and there's
yeah.
gone. Like where did he go? Right? Where did Clark Kent go? But I was in there, and she said to me after, "Why do you do that?
Yeah.
Why do you always jump in? You're gonna get hurt." I'm like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to explain
an
it.
instinct.
But it's an instinct that I must help somebody, right? So I say this all to you today, and I say this all the time because when I'm talking to these colleges or universities, or I'm talking to people in general, they've put all their eggs
Yeah, in one basket.
into this one basket.
Yeah.
And I just need to remind the viewer or the listener, 6% is the stat that was told to me in 1998. The stats now apparently are less than 5% have a success rate of getting on. Now, the schools have made their money, okay? And their job is just to do one thing, get you ready. What you do now is up to you. But they're not really telling you have a plan B, right? Because really you're there in their program so you can get the skills so you can be that career in law
Well,
enforcement.
you can get the general skills that everyone else is getting.
Exactly. Now, even though we're talking about law enforcement today and security, this message is for anybody in anything, right? Because we always go through these career changes, right? I studied for this, wasn't really happy, I went here, right? So I think to focus on having a plan B is huge. So before we go any further, because everyone's just had about a 15 or 10-minute intro of hearing me talk about this, okay? What is a plan B to you, Suzanna? When I tell you like you should have a plan B, what does that mean to you?
So, a plan B for me, that's a good question. I don't see it as just a one plan. For me, I always have a plan, as I mentioned in the intro, like a plan B, C, D, E. So it's like, if my ideal situation does not come to fruition, what else do I want in life that is similar to that? And then, like, am I able to achieve that? Will that still bring me like satisfaction and fulfillment? And then after that, if the plan B and C, if plan B doesn't work out, how does plan C look like? Well, same question. Will that, am I passionate about it or not? I do have an example too. Like I was a gymnast for 13 years. My goal was the Olympics.
So that was it. Like that was like
That was it.
the
For
job.
13 years, that was it. Like my entire life was like sacrificed, and like I want to go to the Olympics. That's it. Like 2012 Summer Olympics in London, and then I got pre-selected for it. Like everything was going towards that one goal, and then I just got injured. And
Did you expect to be injured?
No,
Did it ever dawn in your mind that you could be injured?
no.
Okay, so your whole thing was I'm only focused about winning,
I
and
had
that's
so
it.
many injuries at all times, like broken leg, okay, still go to the gym, like broken ankle, still go, like fractured, like ripped ligament, whatever, you're still at the gym, you're still training. But this one was like, that's it. Like this one was like kaput.
Yeah.
And within like a month, replaced.
So just like that.
Just like that.
So
And
all the 13 years of work leading up to this one moment, you have the injury, and then now, because now you no longer have value now,
yeah.
you're gone.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
17 is like, I felt like my life was done in a way that's like, I've spent my entire life working on this, and it's so. I was a bit confused because I would come from, like, I would start applying to universities. I didn't plan on going to university that year because I would be training, like, that would be the final year.
Yes.
But I just started applying to university. So I guess my parents guided me. I was fortunate that my parents guided me. They're like, okay, well, now you can put that energy from professional sport into academia. Oh, and trust me, I went bananas on academia. So that became my plan B.
Okay.
And so all the energy and discipline and courage, or whatever you want to call it, that I had in professional sport, I put it into my schooling.
How long did it take you to redirect your plan? So, I mean, you never had a plan. You
3
created
months.
a plan. So in 3 months,
3 months.
you went through probably a roller coaster of emotions, from like complete sorrow to probably embarrassment to what am I going to do with my life,
Yeah.
to then basically saying, here's what I need to start
I
going.
get very hyper focused. So I
Okay.
don't know if it's like a skill that got developed or I'm just
Yeah.
like that, but I get hyper focused. So like
Okay.
I'm like, I'm gonna do this, and I
Yeah.
put all my energy into it. So
Okay.
instead of graduating in 10 years with 3 degrees, I did it in 6.
Okay.
And so for me, it's like I have this like, okay, I'm gonna be good at what I decide I'm gonna be good at.
Right.
And that was my plan B. That, like, you didn't plan on it, and you
Yes.
did 17 years at your organization.
Yes.
I didn't plan on it, and I became an academic, and now like applied for my PhD and waiting for that too. Like, but my plan C, if I didn't get employment after my master's degree, which was in disaster and emergency management, like because that is a competitive field too. There's not many
Yes.
emergency management specialist jobs,
Right.
especially before COVID. Now,
Right.
yes, but before COVID, no. My plan was to be like, okay, if I don't get employed within 6 months, and that's when I started making the plans,
Yeah.
I would apply for my PhD
Okay.
because I was good at school.
Yes.
So why not finish my academic career? But I got employed within.
Okay, so
a
let's
week.
go back a couple of steps right now. So you're
Sure.
in your planning moment, academia, you're going to go down that road.
Yes.
Was Evolutes,
No,
who
no.
you're currently a founder of right now, was that even a thought?
No, not at all. I was discouraged from a young age, and I think we mentioned that potentially at the previous podcast, that because of my mixed background, because of where I was born, I really wanted. My second degree was in international studies,
Okay.
and I really wanted to be a diplomat, because of the languages that I speak, and like I really liked like politics and like where it was going. But I was discouraged several times that someone with my background and my accent would not be successful in diplomacy,
Okay.
and that I should just quit, and that it is not a field that would suit a mixed female in Canada.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. Which I was like kind of confused because we are a multicultural
Yeah.
country, but that discouraged me.
Okay.
And so, but no, entrepreneurship, I thought that was impossible because I thought I needed 20 to 25, 40 years experience in order to start my own business. So,
Okay, so there's something here we're going to just pick up, and this is a learning piece here. When you're coming up with your plan B,
yeah.
I would say it's safe to say that it does not need to be completely defined.
No, absolutely
Okay?
not.
Because
No.
because to me, Evolutes, which is who you are now,
Yes.
was never part of the plan B that you had coming out of the piece of you with gymnastics not working out,
Gosh,
right?
no.
So to me, the reason why I say that is when I fell into my situation, I'm not even going to call it my plan B, because my plan B was never to get into social services. It was
Right.
never to be employed by the city. It was more or less, this is what happened, and I just rolled with the punches. However, while I was in that journey, I started to create a plan B. Okay. And again, having a city job, I had a pension, I had benefits, I had really good pay, and I was doing fulfilling work because I was working with a homeless population. However, my plan B started to form in there, right? So I think there's an element for, like, this is my personal 2 cents on this. I think everyone should have some type of entrepreneurship in their system, something that they can tap into, just something, because you never know, that could be your plan C.
It's true.
You know what I mean? And I think right now we're living in a world, especially I'm focusing right now in Canada and going even zooming in Toronto. We're in a very expensive city. And the job market right now is in a situation where people are looking for the best. So we're in a very competitive market. And if you're someone that is going to school, remember that stat is against you. It's a low stat. And that, by the way, is just school. I mean, We haven't talked about anything else. But it's something to understand that if it is that difficult, how are you going to stand out above the rest?
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
What is your differentiator?
Exactly. What is your differentiator? What are you going to do? If I'm applying against 50 other people, why? I asked this yesterday. There's a couple of kids, and I'm going to say kids because they just are ready to graduate in school. And I asked them, there was 3 of them that came in together, and they're all in the gaming backgrounds, all of them gaming, right? So I'm like, okay, let me ask you guys a question. Who's the best here? And they kind of all looked at each other, and they said, okay, it's probably this guy in the middle. I go, they need to be scared then. You need to be scared because what you need to look at is that you need to find a way that you're going to be better than him.
Right.
That's going to be your driving force because when it's time to apply, there is no friends. Now it's time to get a job right now.
It's a reality check.
Yeah, so who's going to put themselves in the best position to do so? So creating a plan B is not just about a job plan B. It's about what am I going to do to give myself the best advantage, the
In
best
life.
skill set. Exactly.
In life.
So if you do fall, if you do get injured, if you don't make it into policing, what have you done to give yourself enough wiggle room right now to slide into something else so it doesn't affect you? Because you said it took you 3 months. There's people that have been taken out and they have not recovered. They have not recovered.
Mentally, it took me 3 months. My body took 7 years.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So I think it's so important. And, when we look at the jobs that we do now, right? Because this kind of also forms into your plan B, whatever that is. It could be entry level work. It could be security. It could be accounting, whatever that is. How much of your effort is being given in that role? See, you could be in a job. You could be in an environment where you're only giving 5 out of 10 effort because maybe it doesn't resonate with your why. But that 5 out of 10 effort, just that part that's coming out of you, could also be your deterrent or your obstacle from moving forward.
It's true.
Do you see
A
what
lot
I'm
of
saying?
people settle, right?
They do.
They do.
So what advice, Suzanna, would you give to people if someone's listening right now? My name's Bob. I'm listening to this presentation. Okay. I have decent marks in school. I really want to be a dentist. I really want to be a cop. What do you suggest that I do if I don't make it in my field?
Okay. So this is exactly the question that I'm a mentor for a lot of students right now in colleges and universities that are trying to get into different specific fields, especially into law school. I don't know how I got into that, but I'm mentoring a lot of high school students that want to get into law. And that was about 2 years ago where I had the idea right after I launched Evolutes after doing so many speaking engagements at colleges, I'm like, you know what? There's clearly a gap. And there's a lot of Bobs out there that have really good marks, are known in the university, are good with their professors, and they had the same mentality as you. I will be that 6%. And then there is just that shock. I took my political science education. I didn't get into law school. And it's why didn't I do it? And then they go and just pick up a job because they have bills or they want to move on with their life, and that discouraged them and they just move on. So I saw that gap, and I realized also from my experience in academia that there is not really, there are resources in universities that do provide you the basic, here's your resume, this is your cover letter, practice whatever you find, whatever questions you might have, and then go for the interview. But it doesn't work like that. There's more little pieces everywhere that do matter, especially now in our digital world where you have an online reputation, even if you don't plan it. I Google you, I already have my opinion about you, and I can judge you based on what Google says. So I did develop Evolutes Academy, which provides a course actually for students and young professionals, not just solely in the security industry, but any industry. It's a self-paced course which actually answers your question. So Bob with good grades and a good reputation, but what makes you different? What makes you different in the market? So these exercises and the phases, I guess, within the course makes you reflect that. So what skills do I have? What languages do I speak? How is my volunteering background beneficial? Did I do any work or internships that could set me apart from other people?
So basically what you're suggesting now is having a discovery process with yourself.
With yourself.
Yes.
Why do I love myself?
Right.
why do I think like I deserve this?
Yes.
How do I? And you have to learn how to sell yourself without being like arrogant in the say.
Yeah.
Like, so like, what makes me special? Because every one of us has different life experience that makes us special.
Yes.
So for me, it's like if you sit down with yourself and like, okay, I think I'm better than John, and you have to do that with yourself. I'm better than John because I was an athlete and I learned discipline. I learned that if I fail, I can get back up and redo it again. And then learn a new skill to not fall the next time. And that what makes me better than John.
Okay.
But how do you put that now into academia? And how do you put that into like your transition to the workforce?
Okay.
And okay, you have good grades. That's good. But how did you achieve those grades? I stayed up at night. I made a program. I have like very good project management, like that I've learned on my like with myself. I'm very organized. I color code. But these things you can sell now yourself, right? It's having like this bigger, like this small little ball, and then looking how this ball was created. So like each line, or like what's outside the ball. Why is this ball in 3D? Is it not in 3D? And those little details is how you're going to find your why and find your differentiator, and that is what the HR people are going to see once you pass through the interview.
No, that's good.
process.
That's very
Yeah.
good. And I'll tell you this: if somebody is struggling, coming into their own discovery process, right? Because sometimes let's just be real here, Suzanna.
Sure,
You get hit,
always.
you get hit with a brick, and I mean a brick of like the brick of life, and your plan falls apart. You could be so discouraged. You could be such at a low point that you don't see your value anymore. Which is why I think it's so important that sometimes you go to people that love you or your friends.
Support system.
Exactly. And then this is where you can get your mojo back. And someone can be like, Bob, are you kidding me? You did
Exactly.
this, and this, and this. You're this, you're this, you're this, you're this. You're like,
And
you know
it's
what?
like fuel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you start tapping back into those things. So having a very good support structure in place is super important when
It's
you hit
crucial.
there.
It's like one of the like biggest things that you can do, because you never know where your close circle is going to go, or if they can help you with a position, or they can be a referral,
Yes.
or they can guide you at your lowest moment. But you have to remember, these relationships also have to be nurtured. So it's not like you can be like, oh, you and I are going to be friends and not talk for 2 years.
Right.
You know, I have to still check up on you.
Yeah.
I still have to ensure that you're okay, so that when you need help, I'm there for you, and if I need help, you're there for me.
Yeah.
But that needs to be communicated. And once again, it's the basics. The basics needs to be, we need to have that basic conversation and have that understanding and know like where we are.
Yeah.
It doesn't just come. Like
Right.
nothing in life just comes to you.
Right.
And you said like the discouragement and everything. And that's not only about professional life. There's a lot of personal aspects in our life, like relationships, friendships, financial issues, health issues that impact our professional life. And I think that could be a completely separate segment that we could do. But there are so many components in our life that impact the way that we perform and how our mental health is.
Okay.
And in order for you to achieve what you want and find your differentiator and your why, you need to be in a healthy mindset. And if you're not there yet, which is completely normal, if you're not there yet, then seek the help. Seek the people that will encourage you. Read books. Put yourself in a position where you can heal or understand what you are missing, and then start fulfilling that for yourself.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And then, yeah.
Keep going. Is there anything else you want to tap?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Look, there's one more thing I'm going to say before we close, and this is this, because it ties into it as well. So, what's your plan B? And I'm going to also go and say this comes in hand as well, is do not give up, okay? So you get hit with that brick of life. You've been wiped out right now. Maybe you're that person listening that has applied to a police service and you have failed 3 times. Maybe you're that person who's written their bar and you cannot get past question 17, whatever that is. Or maybe you're someone that is, trying out for a sport as an athlete and you've torn your Achilles. By the way, I'm going to say this. I'm going to call this guy out because I think it's inspiring, and hopefully you're okay with this. I'm not going to say his name. For the purpose of this, we'll call this person
Bob.
Bob. Yeah, I like Bob, okay? Bob came to the arena 3 weeks ago, and he did his circuit. and he did it in a record-breaking time. Very impressive. And the next day, he went to Peel Region, and he did his prep test. And as he was doing the circuit and coming over that wall, he tore his Achilles tendon. Okay, and now he's out now. And he sent a message to us and how he was so discouraged. And whenever we hear stuff like this, I mean, I don't even know who this guy is. He's a stranger that came to try a circuit out. But to us, when we have an encounter with someone, we want it to be an experience. We said, look, we use the opportunity to uplift him. This too shall pass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then once that passes, it's only going to be positive for you. And you have to look at it like that. Now, Bob took those words and can't wait for his recovery. It's all bubbling inside him. I cannot wait to come out and represent and showcase it. But I'll say this, that if he just gave up, then he even if he had a plan B, just by giving up, then your plan B also falls in place as well. It just doesn't happen. So you cannot give up. You cannot, I mean, we hear it all the time, life obstacles, whenever you get punched, get back up and all that. You hear all these things, but it's so true. Don't give up so you can actually execute your plan B. Because if you have a plan B and you can't execute it, then it's pointless having a plan, right? So I just want listeners hearing here is that, again, we're not talking about things that are easy peasy. Life is tough. Life throws challenges at you. Life throws surprises at you, right? Things that you least expect. One of the biggest blessings that I wake up every day is I wake up every day.
Aww.
You know what I mean? Imagine you couldn't wake up.
Oh.
These are things that happen. So we can always rewire our brain to be like, yes, this didn't happen, but I have life. I have breath. And what am I going to do with that right now? And if we kind of reset our mind sometimes, it changes everything.
It is all about mindset.
Any closing words? For the individual, for the Bobs out there.
For the Bobs.
And the Bobberinas.
The Bobberinas.
Yes.
Bobettes.
The Bobettes. Anything at all you'd like someone to let us closing words?
I like what you said in regards to don't give up part. And I do mention that in my posts, is that every failure that you think that you're having in life, it is actually a redirection.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know I'm saying this now after being so hard on myself for the last decade.
Okay.
And I've come to this realization about a year and a half ago. And it changed my life and I felt peace.
What was that realization? Just what you just said right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
That okay, it didn't work out, but that's okay.
Yes.
I'm redirected.
Right.
And I've had so many situations like that occurred to me that I see a pattern. Okay, I thought I wanted this. It didn't happen. I've learned a lot and I'll make sure I will never feel like that again. And it redirected me to the best thing. I never thought I would be an entrepreneur of this caliber, let's say. Mm-hmm. And I thought I needed more experience and whatnot, but I had this gut feeling that this was the time. So if I did hear and just listen to what other people said, that I needed more experience and that I shouldn't even try and pursue it, then I would live with regret. And I feel like biggest fear, I guess, that I have is living with regret. So if I would die today, I would be okay. Because literally everything that I've done to this day, I've done it with 100%.
Okay.
Even if it didn't work out, I know that I've done it 100% and I don't regret anything.
That's very good. And it's also something that you said this was forming in my mind, was that even in your weakest moment, right, is when clarity came to you.
Oh, yeah. Seriously.
See what I'm saying? So that's the other part of it. We're putting out little things here that could be podcasts in their own life.
Exactly.
Because to me, I have a really good story about that, but there's no time for this right now. I'll save it for another segment. But yeah, sometimes, again, the way that life works, just embrace it, go with the flow, but reset yourself to kind of get to that next level.
And always have a plan.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
But at least know what your bigger picture looks like. And then take small steps to make that bigger picture a reality.
Okay.
You don't have to have everything. I want to be a millionaire and it needs to happen in a week.
Yes.
No, but if that's your goal, if that is your motivator, if materialistic things is your motivator, then okay, what does it take to become a millionaire?
Okay.
What steps do you need to take?
Yes.
And so everything's possible.
And why a millionaire?
Maybe a billionaire.
Why not a billionaire?
My God.
You know what I mean?
Just do whatever you want, whatever
Exactly.
makes you happy. There's no limits.
That's
we
right.
are our own limits.
Literally.
So, closing statement is, do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Keep yourself mentally and physically healthy. If it doesn't happen, it's okay. It redirected you. Take the time to heal, acknowledge your emotions, make a plan, take action. If you need support, reach out to resources, third parties, or friends, and just focus and apply yourself.
There you go. You heard it from Suzanna. You heard it from Suzanna today. Okay. Thank you so much. I think this is
you.
amazing. I think it's going to be very valuable to those
I
listening.
think so too.
And let's go out. And I'm actually, as we leave right now, I'm going to start planning a plan C.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think, why not?
And just in case, I'll do the plan D and E.
Okay, there you
All
go.
right.
There you go.
All
right.
right.
And I'll do F by. All right. Take care, everybody.
This podcast is brought to you by Executive Protection Lifestyle Canada. Make sure to drop by next week and don't forget to subscribe.